Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am MrSimside and today I am talking about weather in Planet Coaster 2. As we are only 1.5 weeks away from the next Frontier Unlocked stream, which possibly will contain the next deep dive, which Frontier already announced is about management. And I think weather is a very important thing about management, because you have to decide on things in your park to make the experience the best for your guests. We are back in Planet Zoo because we already had some weather effects in Planet Zoo and kind of implementation of temperature. So from what we've seen so far, the weather system or the seasons in Planet Coaster 2 look a little more impressive and a little more detailed than we know it from Planet Zoo, but I wanted to show you guys, especially for those who haven't played Planet Zoo a lot, how it was implemented in this game. And for me it's just an example of how it will kinda be in the game. All the videos from other content creators we have seen so far had some rain in it, but we already know that there will also be snow in game. Snow in Planet Coaster 2 looks pretty similar to Planet Zoo, because if you go to the terrain painter and select the snow texture, it looks white, but if you place it down in a warm temperature, it just turns to a kind of rock texture, and if it's cold enough it will become white and snowy. I don't know if we will get fake snow for maybe some Winter Wonderland dark rides or something like this, or maybe we will just get some decals, but as it's a terrain painter, it absolutely makes sense that it isn't white all the time if it's too warm outside. But I would say let's start right into Planet Zoo and have a look at how the weather is implemented in the game. In the UI, you have an option to change weather in sandbox mode. If you click down below, you can change from shuffle weather, so it will be automatically generated, to non-cloudy, cloudy weather. I will just change and we will have a look at how the overall weather changes over time. You can see the clouds are getting bigger and bigger and it's becoming less sunny, of course. So that's a pretty nice effect. You can then also turn to rain and of course snow, which will both have an impact on the overall temperature in your zoo. I already placed down some buildings because I also wanted to talk about how heaters and ACs work in Planet Zoo, because you had to adjust the temperature for the animals. And I think this will also be something in Planet Coaster 2, because we already know that shade is an important thing and people can get sunburned. So I'm looking forward to how they implemented it into Planet Coaster 2. Before we go into the weather effects and how they have an impact on the buildings, which is absolutely amazing in Planet Zoo already, and I'm so looking forward to seeing it in action with coasters and flat rides, and how it impacts the guest flow throughout your park. But in Planet Zoo, you also had to manage water temperature. So for example, I placed down a little lake here. If I click on this volumetric water, I can see the temperature is 20 degrees. How big the water area is, that's mostly important for the animals in here, so I don't think that's too important in Planet Coaster 2. But I think we will also have to take care of heating of the pools, for example. So I can adjust within this, if I open up the heat map and go to water, I can see the water temperature heat map. So it's from minus 25 degrees Celsius to up to 45. And I can set the temperature in here. So for example, if I want to have 30 degree, the water turns red and it is being heated from this water temperature facility. I can also cool it down for something, yeah, some animals like it cooler. I don't know if that's a thing really, but in case of the pools, we need to have something like this. Maybe we can also place heated pools indoors and outdoors for, yeah, winter time or so, or colder weather. I can also add some visual effects in here. So if I go to customize, I can set different colors. For example, I can also make the color, yeah, violet or red or something like this. But you can also just use the natural color, and it's also getting dirty over time. So if there's no water treatment, the water will get darker and darker and dirtier. So in here you can see the cleanliness, which is 100% at the moment, so this is just fine. You can also add some bubbles in here, for example in Planet Zoo, and you can, for the warm effect, there is some fog added as well. Those are just visual effects, but they look really nice. The next thing I want to talk about is how weather impacts the overall guest flow and how it affects or works with buildings. That's why I placed down some different buildings, and I will just change the weather to rain. It will take some time now that the weather is getting worse. Let's wait and see. I will speed up a little bit, and you can already see that it is raining. The water effects of the rain are everywhere, which was mind-blowing when Planet Zoo came out, because you can see those little raindrops on the grass, and you can also see the weather effects or water on the roof pieces. And the best thing for me personally is that you have those little details, water dropping down from the roof pieces, or also if you take a look at some other roof pieces like this tower here, it just looks super nice. And also the glowing water effects on the wet roof pieces is just amazing. You can really see they took invested a lot of time to make these weather effects really nice. They also work on scenery pieces, so everything has some interaction with the weather. It's dripping down here, which looks absolutely nice, and I'm hoping that it will be like this in Planet Coaster 2 as well. You can also see some small water effects here on the terrain in the whole biome, which also looks super nice. For example, this statue also gets kind of glossy, so you can definitely see that something is wet. This is also for this one, or also the rocks in here. So everything gets a little shimmer effect, which make it look even more natural and nice. And it's absolutely crazy that also these dripping or water drop effects are even on the rock work visible, which is a super nice detail they added back in Planet Zoo. And what really works well is that if people go inside a building, they remove their umbrellas, and if you go in a building, you can also see that there is no rain inside a building. So the game really knows where should rain be. You can also take a look into the air or into the sky and see how the rain is falling and going down over the glass pieces, and it looks super nice. I think this is what we can at least expect from Planet Coaster 2 as well. Immediately after you go outside the building, you can see the rain again, and that's also the same for other buildings, like with non-glass pieces. It looks super nice, and there are absolutely no glitches, so it's really well done. Before we go into the temperatures and how temperature affects inside and outside buildings, I also wanted to show you some snow effects. So if I turn this to winter or snow, in case of Planet Zoo, we didn't have season. Those are just these 3 different weather options or weather effects, and it changes the temperature, but there are nothing like these seasons in Planet Coaster, which we've seen in this weather and seasons overview panel with different weather forecasts per hour. It's now snowing. Things will become white, so you can also see terrain paint I put down. It turns immediately white if the temperature is below 0, and if you take a closer look, the snow effect is also very realistic, because it just doesn't turn everything white. The game calculates where is it realistic to have a white effect, and it looks really cool. Also, the rocks are only white on top of it, and some slightly detail effects around the sides of those rock pieces, and it looks really realistic in my opinion. Also, the grass, which isn't covered in snow because there's an object placed above, is absolutely amazing that it works that well. Also, with the roof going a little further than the actual building, if you take a look here closer, you can also see this just keeps it green and without snow, which is super nice. You can also see inside this building there is no snow effect because you have a roof on it, so the snow isn't going inside of buildings. I also placed down a ride because I wanted to show how it looks like with a moving ride. As for the train, there are no snow effects on them, but the track pieces below are all covered in snow. I think that's pretty much okay. A moving roller coaster won't be full of snow because it's always indoors, and yeah, I think that's a detail we don't have to focus on too much. Another nice thing is that also the trees and bushes are covered in snow, pretty nice. Also, the area below a tree or a bush is still some kind of green, and it looks really cool. So I'm excited to see if or how it will look in Planet Coaster, and if we have those winter effects also, and how it actually turns out with the management of your park, and if people will still ride roller coasters, or if it depends on the temperature, and maybe if coasters or outside rides have to be closed if the temperature is too low or so. I actually cannot imagine how they will implement it. As it's now snowing and we have -1 degree outside, I will turn on the heat map to show you how the heaters and the AC work in Planet Zoo. For example, I placed down a heater in here. It's set to 19 degrees Celsius and it has a reach of 8. So this is just the area or how big the area is and how strong it has an impact on the surrounding air. And of course, I also placed, we will take a look at this also, an AC in here, which takes care of cooling down the air to 15 degrees inside this building. And yeah, I will just turn on the heat map that you can see how the temperature looks. So outside, the people are all dark blue because it's very cold. Also, the surrounding area is in the mid blues with -1 degree. but you can clearly see that it has an impact on the inside of buildings. So for example, the heaters I placed down take care of the inside of this building, that it's getting warmer and warmer. I will move this on a little bit to here, that you can also see how it is turning out. I will set it to 22 degrees and maybe also upper the reach a little bit. And then you can see how it impacts the people as well. When they are in here, it's becoming warmer for them as well. So I think this will be something we have to take care of in Planet Coaster 2, and that we also have to place down ACs to keep indoors not too hot, or that people can still feel comfortable with. Yeah. So I also wanted to show, you can clearly see the borders. It's still pretty cold in here, but you can see that it doesn't have that big impact to outside the buildings. So I'm not really sure how. Sorry, I only can go closer if I'm in here. I can set the climate or the AC also to 30 degrees, for example, and it's making the temperature in here a lot warmer, I think. So let's have a look if it has any impact. One thing I realized when trying out the things with the ACs and the heaters, it sometimes has also an impact to outside of the buildings, but not always. So for example, if I go in here, you can only see, sorry, this is with the ACs, that's not really helpful at this time. Here you can see it's pretty warm inside, only the edges of the building are colder, and people would feel pretty comfortable in this building, but you don't have that big of an impact outside. So there is anything going on with the calculation of those, and you can heat up buildings like this. It works much better with the AC, because if I set this to sun and wait that it's getting warmer in here, I will speed it up right now. You can then better see how it turns out in total. So for example, I cool it down to 10 degrees. Maybe a little colder still. The reach this AC has is always round, like a big ball, but you can still see that it's having some harder edges around the building. So as it's in real life, some of the temperature will of course go outside the building. And I think the effect is much higher with glass pieces than with solid roof pieces and solid walls. I haven't checked if it changes if I put down multiple or double walls. Let's try and edit this building. We will double up the walls now to see if it has any impact on how the temperature is calculated, because the walls are now thicker, and maybe it does change anything. I'm also not sure if it changes anything with the indoor lighting as it does with Planet Coaster 2, because nope, it's not getting darker. But as we have two ACs in here, let's take a look at how it changed with the overall. No, doesn't really have an impact. So it's still colder in here and it works pretty well. So this is just fine. I can set it down to 0 and you can see that we have these smaller areas in a more bluish tone, and it has an impact to the overall, but it's not that strong outside. So yeah, I'm super excited how this is implemented in Planet Coaster 2, and I hope I could show you some of the things with weather in Planet Zoo which you can expect for the sequel of Planet Coaster. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you for watching. Comment down below what you think of how weather will be added to Planet Coaster 2 and what will be the main impact on your gameplay. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my Planet Coaster 2 and Planet Coaster content. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye.